So we go to the doctor and we are told that his kidneys are failing.
Just like that, they were gone.
We didn't know what to do. It's shutting down. And we only have two options: dialysis or,
A kidney transplant.
yeah, that was the darkest time in our lives.
Absolutely, it was. Very afraid. I remember when we started classes, they said, show of hands, who wants to do dialysis and who wants to transplant? And at about, what, about 10 or 15
We were
people?
like, we were so fast. Dialysis, yes.
Transplant? There.
And you have to do it like 3 times a week.
Yes.
3 times a week for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
Oh, and that's a lot of money too.
Yes, it's not cheap. It's
Yes.
not free.
It's not free, yes. Hey, Jazri family.
What's up, people?
So today we are going to give you, it's like a testimony, and this is to encourage anyone going through a hard time in life not to give up.
Don't give up.
Never give up. Have faith. We'll walk you through our faith journey to when my husband got his transplant. So this is how it started, and I'll let him explain first.
So, as you know, I'm a diabetic, and not knowing that diabetes had shut my kidneys down the way they did, I started by going to Dr. Turner here in Greenwood, and they told me my function was about 20%. My kidneys were working about 20%. He said, we ain't worried yet, but we need to keep an eye on them. I said, okay, no big deal. Drink plenty of water or whatever. And what was it? Maybe 3, 4 weeks later,
Yes.
I went back and they told me I had like 12%.
Yes, 12%. It was going down, and we were starting to get worried.
It was going downhill quick. So then I was told, keep an eye on it. We're still not ready to do anything. I think it was maybe another month, two at most. And I had to go for a surgery to have a stent put in my neck in case I have to do dialysis because it was on the horizon. And then they start talking about, go ahead, baby.
No, I think that time his kidneys were lower now. It was not even 11 or 12.
It went from 20 to about
it was almost
8
yes,
in
8
a
or
matter of
7
a few
there.
months.
Yes. So it was 7% working. Now it was almost shutting down. But they had not said that he could do dialysis. I don't know what they were waiting for. And at this time we were worried. And then one day he got sick. And when he got sick, the doctor there realized that
Yes.
the kidneys were so bad, and he said he has to do like an emergency dialysis on him. And immediately that's when they did the surgery there on the
Yeah.
neck.
They put a thing where I could do dialysis through my neck. At the time I didn't have a fistula in my arm yet, so they did one on my neck. But like my wife was saying, I got sick, and when they put me in the hospital, it was like, we got to get him going now. He can't wait on this dialysis. He got to go ASAP. So then I'm kind of like, wow.
Yeah, it took us by surprise. Like everything was going so fast. And we were invited to go to their transplant hospital in
Yes, in
Charleston
Charleston, in USC.
so that we could know actually what was going on. They wanted to prepare us for what is coming.
Yes, and they also wanted to put me on the kidney transplant list. But the thing with that was, I had to wait for a donor to how do I say it? A donor who would match my blood type. But in the meantime, my kidneys got worse, a lot worse, to the point that, like I said, they had to do emergency surgery so I can start dialysis.
Yeah. So first of all, we went to Charleston. At that time, he had also started dialysis at that time. And the dialysis was 3 times in a week. You go 3 times in a week to go for the dialysis. And it's not cheap, it's expensive.
Yes.
We thank God that we had an insurance that covered it
Yes.
at that time. So we are really grateful. I mean, God works in different ways. Like he fixes the puzzle without even you realizing that. So he went for dialysis. At that time, I was expectant, and we went to that hospital after that, and they prepared us. They told us that If you have a living donor, somebody who is willing to give out the kidney, it will take less than a year or
Yes.
a year for him to get it. But if you don't have anyone, it can take up to
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. Yes.
3 to 5 years of dialysis,
Yes.
3 times a week.
So, and you have, and they say for some people, the dialysis really drains them. That after undergoing the, that process, you don't feel like working. You're very weak. So for some people, they even have to leave work.
Yeah.
They can't do work like normal people because they are so drained and they just can't. Either if it's here in the US, I know back home it can be difficult, but here in the US they can take like a part-time job,
Yeah.
or you just get out of work completely. So you can either choose one of them depending on how your body feels.
So when I first, well, when they was presenting all this stuff to me, basically they thought I was going to just retire and just go to dialysis and worry about my kidney the rest of my life.
Yeah,
By the time I couldn't do that. I feel like the more active you are, the better you are. If that makes sense to you.
your
You know,
body, yes.
don't just sit here and wait to get sicker or even die. You want to be active. You got to take care of your family too.
Yes. But it's not to talk down on somebody who
No,
maybe took
it's not.
dialysis and stayed at home.
It's not.
Everybody functions differently. So he did it and he felt like he was feeling, actually, he said he was feeling more stronger
Yeah.
every time he did it than when he was not doing it. He felt a bit more, it's funny, for him, it worked the opposite.
Yeah.
He felt more stronger.
I wasn't drained at all.
Yes. So he went on with that, and then we were prepared for that. And we went back home and we were told we have to save money for the transplant because it's expensive. We have to have accommodation expenses and all that covered before you go for that dialysis. So we were given a roughly what we have, like you have to have around $5,000 for just you and the person who will be taking care of you.
Yeah.
That is just for spending there with the accommodations and everything, because the hotels there are very expensive.
Yeah. In Charleston, you're not cheap at all.
Yes. So we come back home. We decide to ask family and friends. And
Thing is, I mean, right, baby, if somebody were to give you an organ, whether it be kidney, um, whatever else, you have to have perfect health. You can't have had a past of sickness, whether it be cancer, whether it be diabetes, whether it be some kind of massive sickness in your body. Because I know my stepdad, he wanted to be a giver. He wanted to get tested, but he had cancer in his past, so I automatically excluded him. Because you got to have perfect health.
yes, so no one, if somebody in your family has to go to be a match so that they can donate, number one, they should not have any disease running through their body, whether diabetes, nothing. Like they should never have had any major, how do I say, any major disease, or how, a disease that can cause even
You know, like
serious
cancer and
serious disease, yes, that can cause death. They should not have that, either cancer, diabetes, or gone through a major surgery. That
yeah,
they should not. So that was hard because some of his family members have gone through some of that. So it left us with another half of the family members. And then the other half of the family members, most of them feared, some feared about getting surgery, and others had their own reasons. They didn't want to be tested. And you can't force people to be
yeah,
tested. It should be voluntary. No one should be forced to give out their kidney. That is part of their
yeah.
body. So we felt like we had reached a roadblock.
She's right.
We didn't have any member of the family who could give us any kidney. So at that time, because I was expectant, I was almost, as time went, I was almost now in my third trimester, and my husband was like, "No, you can't get surgery, and you're in third trimester and get tested." So I don't want right now to think of that with you because I don't know how your pregnancy will go towards you delivering. So that's why I don't want to put that on you again. So he said I should not try that. Let him just try out and ask out.
Yeah, 'cause I'd rather dialysis than my wife had to suffer, and that was our firstborn. I won't take no chances on that. No, thank you.
So we decided to pray when we saw there was no answer. And we said the next thing is that we are going to put it on social media. So we said, let's try social media and see, just give out our, because even the hospital, they say you can also use social media. Maybe you can get somebody. So my husband put up this post that you see here and just left it public so that people could share and reach out. And the response was really positive.
Yeah,
Like, it is not what we were expecting.
it's very overwhelming.
Yes. So many people shared. I mean, people shared from church to family members, they shared the post and it went all over, up to Kenya, I tell you.
It was.
Yeah, Kenyans really responded. People I never even knew wrote to me and told me that they are willing to do it. The only thing they don't have is the ticket.
The airfare to America.
Yes, if they could get that, they could come and get tested. Now, that was a good way. I mean, I felt touched, and God bless them.
Yes, I got a better
God bless
response
them.
from Kenyans
Yes,
at first than from anybody.
yes.
I mean, yeah, my wife's a Kenyan, but these people, I had no idea who they were.
I even don't know them. They are not even my family members, and I was shocked. The thing is that we weren't prepared for that kind of expense. So through that, we got a response. Yay! We were so
We
happy.
was. I was very excited.
Yes, we got a response. And this guy wrote to my husband and said, I want to go get tested. He was a very young guy.
Yeah.
And we were so excited. We were like, yeah, finally, we don't know him. We didn't even know him. And he said he lived around here somewhere in another town next to here. And we waited. So he took time. 2 weeks later, he said that, okay, now I've booked myself. I'm going to be getting to get tested. Hey, there it is, our hope. And we thank God. Yes, we have it. We have it, And then after a week, he writes to my husband. And what did he say?
Basically, he couldn't do it.
He said he couldn't do it. First of all, he came with a story that he got into an
Yeah,
accident.
he was in a motorcycle accident.
Yes. And
That's what it
so,
was.
yes. So because of that, he could not do it. And he just cut off even ties. He didn't speak any much.
Yeah, he cut everything. I was like, okay, I appreciate it.
So we were back to square one.
Yep, 3 times a week.
In 2020, that's there in the middle of that, we received a message from a lady. She messaged my husband and said, hey, I think she read it online, and this is how she will play a video so that she will say how she got to
Yeah,
know about us. But this lady messaged my husband and said she's going to get tested. She read the story, she was so touched, and she felt in her heart she it has been disturbing her. She just has to do it. If you're still watching until this time, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's continue the story.
One day I saw that he was looking for a kidney donor on his Facebook, and something in my mind told me that I wanted to be that kidney donor. After praying and talking to doctors, they said, we had an okay. Multiple trips to Charleston, we finally figured out that we were a perfect match. So we ended up having the surgery, and we're still friends, and that's the story of how I found out he needed a kidney and how I became the kidney donor.
so, but we basically said, okay. And really, honestly, it wasn't disrespectful, but I just said, okay.
Yeah, we didn't think much of it, but we were so grateful to
Yeah,
hear
we were
that.
thankful that somebody was willing to at least get tested.
Yes. And then when we looked at her, she's young. She was very young. So I was just thinking, when you're young, it's so easy to say something and say no again.
Yeah,
But she continued communicating to us. I mean, this lady continued communicating. She told us what she has done, the researches she had done. She was even giving us ideas on how to get accommodation on a discount. I mean, she was so good. Let me just tell you
Yeah.
that she was like that good Samaritan, that angel that God sends when you're just there. And then when she went to get tested, she told us, she called us, she told us, I've already done this test. My insurance is covering all the expenses and I'm good. So let's wait. She told us, pray, it's a match. Pray for me that it is a. Can you imagine she's telling us to pray that she's a match?
Yeah. So she's begging me to take her kidney.
Yes. And she was like, pray. I want it to be a match. I want it to be a match. And we started praying also. We continued
Yes.
praying. And let me tell you, we were praying throughout this thing. So even when it happened to us, we said, wow, this is a miracle. It is happening.
Never quit praying.
Yes.
Never give up on God.
Yes.
Even when it looks dimmest, it will come through. Let me add this.
Yeah.
Let me add this, babe, before we go any further. I was at Dialysis that day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I think it's my wife and I think my mother also. They said, when you get home, we got to tell you something. That's all I got. When you get home, we really got to tell you something. You need to know.
Yeah.
I said, okay, whatever. Not to be, fuddy dud, but I didn't get used to going to dialysis. So I said, all right, we'll talk when we get home. When I get home, 'cause I had an appointment that day for dialysis. So when I got home, my wife gave me the good news. Bethany was a perfect match.
Can you imagine?
Perfect match.
Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. We celebrated, we prayed.
Yes.
We thanked God.
Yes.
You should have seen us praying, thanking God, and it was overwhelming. And we were like, oh, it's happening. Finally. So she's a match. So the thing is that now we just have to wait to be called and just be called for that day to happen. Because now we already have one and save money. So the other thing we needed is money because we needed money
Yes.
to the accommodation and everything. And at that time, I was also expectant.
And we had our little one in here, so
yeah,
we had to think about that too.
yes,
I'm not going to just dip out on my family. I mean, this is my family, my wife and my future son.
so it happened, and the day he was called to have his kidney was the day after I was delivering. That is the day, like I'm delivering today, and tomorrow he has to go to Charleston for his surgery. So they gave him only one day with us so that he could just experience the birth of his son. And that's what happened. So we were so happy at that time. And he was like, he's receiving two miracles, a baby and a kidney, the same week.
The last day I did dialysis, my son was born. The very last day I had the dialysis, my son was born that day.
Yes, that was his last day of dialysis. And then we had our son, our baby. And it was not easy, that part. But we thank God we went through it. It was a C-section. And so there is another surgery. I come back home and he's packing. He's going for the surgery. So I have to remain alone in the house.
Her first about week with our baby, I was in Charleston, didn't cut on.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going through it, but so was she. I mean, there's a newborn baby, a cesarean she had, and she's taking care of the baby by herself.
Yeah.
That wasn't easy for my wife.
Yes. So he called me when he did the surgery. The lady was already there. Now, let me tell you something about this lady. Why we say it's a miracle. So she decided to do her wedding and then do the surgery because we told her it's rather that would be best like that, not surgery then wedding. So she went to do the wedding, and then after her honeymoon was just a week. She drove from her honeymoon to the hospital to go do her surgery with her husband. I mean, who does that? I mean, she really sacrificed. Until I was thinking, I hope she was enjoying her honeymoon and she was not thinking about the surgery.
Yes.
because driving from your honeymoon to the hospital to do a surgery, and then after the surgery you're sick in the house for 6 weeks, and for some people it can take 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And she's a new bride, and I have to give it to her husband because her husband stood with her, stayed with her in the hospital. This is a new bride. You've just married this lady and she's willing to give her kidney to somebody else, and you're starting out your marriage. She's starting out the marriage as somebody who is sick. When you get that, you're like kind of sick. So she's starting with kind of like with sickness as a new bride in that marriage. And the husband is starting a new marriage with taking care of a wife
Yeah.
who was in good health.
Yeah. Perfect health.
Yes. So that is a sacrifice both of them did, and we owe them. We owe them. We owe them a lot. Like
Yes.
we always feel indebted to them. We love them so much. We say they are part of our family. That
Yes.
is what we usually say. We don't see them much, but we try as much as possible to communicate with them.
Yes.
But that's how they started their marriage life and their family. And I pray that God blesses this family.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was a lot, and we don't take it for granted. And so everything went well.
Yes. Because I even told her, while back from it, I said, you can be our son's auntie. You can be his extended auntie.
Yes.
So
I call her my sister. She's my sister. Tell her you're my sister from another mother, but you're just my sister. And when we are in Christ, we are all brothers and sisters.
that's right.
We are one
True.
family. So she's part of our family, her and the husband. So everything went well. My husband came back home. He had to go to different tests afterwards.
Yes.
So it's not you get your kidney and you come home and you're that. You have to take medicine, a lot of medicine in a day.
Yeah. I'll be on like medicine the rest of my life, so my
Yes.
body don't reject this kidney.
Yes.
But at first, when I first got it, it was like lots and lots of trips from back to Charleston.
Yes, and getting blood work done all the time. So for my husband, it's better because that's better than going for the dialysis, because
Yes.
he's able to move on with his life. And that is how we are living now. It has been working well since
Since 2021,
2021.
the kidney she gave me has been really good,
Yes,
in great shape.
and we are grateful. And this is to encourage anyone who is going through a rough patch in their life,
Yes.
that continue praying, walking in faith. Sometimes you don't see what you really want or whatever you're desiring from God. But when that time comes, it will come in a way you never expected. We thought it will come from a family, but it came from somebody else.
Yes.
Now this lady, she knew a little bit like a name. The way you go to church, many people you know a name. That's how she knew my husband. But she used to stay so far. She never even used to stay in this town. But she decided to do that. So even things can happen like that, and whoever will lend a hand to you will be somebody you never expected. Because God sends people in different. I mean, his miracle comes in different ways.
Yes. Angels all look alike.
Yes.
Who you might think, oh, this person's gonna be, then it's this person over here, and you're like, wow, where'd that come from? It's God.
Yes.
No other way.
Yes. And the power of social media. God also can use the power of social media.
Never quit praying.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. Never quit praying.
Don't ever quit praying, and don't ever go from God either. When it feels like your darkest hour, He's there. Even if you seem like you're alone, you're not. He's there. I promise you, He's there, and you'll get through this.
Yes.
You will get through this. Lean not on our own understanding, but give everything to God. He'll come it may seem like it's taking forever, but He'll come at the right time. He's never early. He's never late. He's always on time. Sometimes you have to go through it to see that it's really true.
The Bible says, keep knocking, keep asking. So we should keep knocking on that door. And you never know when He'll open it, because He will open it. There's a reason that verse was put there. If you feel like there's something you really want that this can change your life, don't give up on prayers. Don't give up on prayers. Your miracle can come just like it did for us.
If we've been a blessing, hit that like and subscribe button. Be part of our family. We definitely like to have you part of our family. And I want to give a shout out to Bethany. Thank you so much, Bethany. You've really touched my family's life, and we'll forever be endowed to you. And we're so thankful. Thank you so much, sis, what you did for me and my family.
Thank you so much, Bethany, and we love you. And thank you to everybody else in this world who has helped somebody else
Yes.
come out of a predicament. May God bless you.
May God bless you.
Until another time, see you.
See you.